Dr. La Fermenta. This is Caroline Barba. This is my final submission for your class. And I was thinking at the end of the semester that it's probably a lot for you to read through so many papers and analyze them, so I thought a video might be a refreshing change. So I am submitting the transcript to this video in case you need it for further assessment. As this was divided into 3 parts, I'm going to address each piece of it. And part 1 is the evolution of a science teacher. And of course, as a scientist, I've gathered evidence to support my hypothesis. My claim is that I've changed my classroom practice to allow more time for discussion and reflection as a result of changes in my thinking about how to measure student learning. I have evidence to support this. The first piece of evidence is that assessment is not always on paper and pencil. We are having more classroom discussion. For example, we use a bulletin board to collect questions that reflect the child's new level of understanding. I may ask them something like, okay, now that you know this, what questions do you have, and see where they go with it. They're also spending time reflecting on what they know. For example, using Marzano's scale for understanding, I ask children to give me a signal as we reach key points of our curriculum and let me know if it's time to move on or if we need to revisit. My reasoning is this: by using these informal methods of formal assessment, I'm able to tailor instruction in real time. The more familiar I become with the material in the IQuest curriculum, the more comfortable I am leading students in discussions about their discoveries, what they want to know next, and what they're still unclear about. Using discussion rather than graded papers at the formative level frees students to be more open with what they're still struggling with. Part 2 asked where I can grow with this. As I improve my practice in implementing the IQuest curriculum, I'm becoming aware of areas that need improvement. The top 2 on my list are differentiation and student engagement. The 2 actually go hand in hand. One of the things I've found to be quite liberating to me as a classroom teacher is the ability to develop a usable rubric. With this tool, I am able to assess more open-ended assignments. When I allow students to explore and provide unique responses to situations and challenges, I'm providing opportunities for differentiation. I would like, however, to design a few supplemental or extension activities to meet the needs of my struggling students, as well as those who need additional challenge to stay interested. I think meeting this need would also help with increasing student engagement in the classroom. Here's my claim. Challenging students to apply what they know through experiments that they design and implement allows for differentiation and increased engagement. Here's my evidence. Over a 5-week period, students focused on what plants need to grow and designed an experiment to test one of those variables. Student engagement was high during the project. Students of vastly different ability levels all participated in the project. Opportunities to express multiple intelligences were provided. They were able to design, illustrate, care for plants, graph, and, of course, use written expression. My reasoning is this: even students who didn't receive a high score on the project still came out of it with an increased level of understanding of scientific method, experimental design, and the process of photosynthesis. Students who need additional stimulation use the opportunity to design elaborate setups or excel in data collection and organization. Finding ways to provide additional opportunities of this nature would amplify success in the classroom, as increased scientific literacy is, of course, our goal. Part 3, my wonderings. Since these are the areas I'm still exploring, I'm unable to submit my evidence, but I have some specific ideas that I am wondering about. 1. Can I implement the practices I use to maintain my effectiveness as a teacher while relying less on documents I create and more on the IQuest workbooks? For example, could I motivate students to answer the Getting Started questions in their workbooks with the same level of care they use when I have them answer on a blank sheet of paper? This would require students to take steps toward managing their own learning. Would they thrive without the threat of lost points? Number 2, how can I effectively use peer review? I would like for students to rely on each other for feedback, but many feel pressured to say that work is good when it isn't really up to par. I want to train my students to be experts at what they do so they can teach each other. That would definitely be an opportunity for growth. Number 3, I'd like to embrace assessment for learning. I want to stop being so tied down to dividing points and thinking about grading scales that I'm not free to explore alternative methods of teaching and assessment that meet each child's needs. I want to spend less time grading and more time teaching, giving credit for what is learned and not for how many points are earned. Once again, it's been a pleasure to participate in your class, and I hope this process frees you a bit from all the reading you must be tied down with at the end of the semester. Thank you. Happy holidays.